state Minnesota is now ground zero. A fraud scandal tied to state-run programs and Democratic Governor Tim Walz has erupted into a national firestorm. What began locally has surged into a political tsunami, pulling in Republicans, federal investigators, and the Trump administration. The spotlight is unforgiving, and the pressure is only escalating. It all began with a viral video. Independent journalist Nick Shirley posted footage of a Minnesota daycare facility that appeared completely inactive. No children, no staff, yet purportedly receiving large amounts of government funding. The video spread fast, igniting outrage online and reopening old questions about fraud inside Minnesota's safety net programs.
Hello, we'd like to ask where the money's going. What do you guys think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
I don't think anybody is enabling fraud to happen.
Hold Governor Walz accountable for this.
What was this money spent on? 1.26 million. What was that money spent on? There aren't any kids.
Answer the question. Are there children? There's no children inside this building.
On Monday, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem announced that her agents were on the ground in Minneapolis, going door to door at suspected fraud sites. Her message was blunt: taxpayers deserve answers and arrests if abuse is found. Behind the scenes, federal investigators were already moving. The FBI now confirms it was probing fraud in Minnesota before the scandal exploded online, and now multiple federal agencies are circling. The consequences are immediate. SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler announces a halt to annual SBA funding to Minnesota, pending a full review of the fraud claims, a move that sends shockwaves through the state. However, this is not Minnesota's first reckoning. Federal prosecutors have long warned that the state has been vulnerable to large-scale fraud. The most infamous case, Feeding Our Future, was labeled the largest pandemic aid fraud scheme in U.S. history. Prosecutors said relaxed COVID rules allowed millions meant to feed children to be siphoned off. In March 2025, the scheme's leaders were convicted. A legislative audit later concluded the Walz administration failed to stop it in time. Another program, Housing Stabilization Services, designed to help seniors and people with disabilities, was shut down entirely after federal investigators warned it was extremely vulnerable to fraud. And now, the accusations are even bigger. Trump's assistant U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson has claimed at least $9 billion in federal funds across 14 Minnesota programs since 2018 may have been stolen, though he has not publicly detailed how that figure was calculated.
So the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services pulled the claims data for these 14 programs dating back to 2018. And those 14 programs in Minnesota have cost $18 billion since 2018. Well, I think it's fair to say, and everyone's been saying, I've said it before, that our state has done not a good job of minding these programs in terms of responsibility. There's lots of levels of responsibility. There's criminal culpability, obviously, and then there's other accountability. And obviously, I think all of us as a state have to grapple with that. And that's not just prosecutors and law enforcement agents, but regulators and politicians and news media, community leaders. And I think that process, that conversation is starting to happen, and I hope it continues to.
More than 90 defendants have been charged, most of them Somali Americans, a fact that has already fueled racial controversy and political tension. Republicans argue Minnesota has become a fraud hotspot. Democrats say those claims unfairly target immigrant communities. Governor Walz has pushed back, saying his administration hired outside auditors, shut down risky programs, created a statewide integrity director, and supported prosecutions. He insists anyone committing fraud should go to prison, while criticizing what he calls politically motivated attacks.
This is what happens when your own federal government wages war against you. This is what happens when they target communities for their own benefit. This is what happens when they scapegoat. And this is what happens when they no longer hide the idea of white supremacy when you hear the Vice President of the United States talk about now white people won't have to apologize for being white. That's never happened once in my whole damn life. And I think everybody in this room knows what they're doing. So we're here today to say enough of this. We're here today to stand that Minnesota will protect their neighbors, to tell those folks who are out there who are too scared to send your children to school, who are too scared to visit a local business, who are too worried about maybe picking up extra food during the holidays at the food banks. We will do all we can to make those corridors safe for you, to make sure you're able to do what you need to do. We hear rumors, we hear suggestions of things, but that's how they operate, that there will be an increased presence. I would tell you, if I were a betting person, they will do it over these holiday seasons because it makes it especially cruel. It makes it especially mean-spirited. It makes it especially traumatizing for communities that wish to gather and to celebrate in their faith on these most important of the high holidays in all of our faiths. So I would fully expect, and we are preparing for, an influx of more agents, more of the very visible public theatrics of the raids, of the harassments, and you got faith leaders here. I would not put it past this administration to target midnight mass services amongst folks going to worship, because that's who they are.
But politics is impossible to ignore. Walz, Senator Amy Klobuchar, and Representative Ilhan Omar have all been vocal critics of Donald Trump. The commander-in-chief, in turn, has repeatedly targeted Minnesota's leadership, especially Omar, and the clash has only intensified as investigations expand.
I wouldn't be proud to have the largest Somalian. Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. Look, these Somalians have taken billions of dollars out of our country. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud. She tries to deny it now, but you can't really deny it because, you know, it just happened. She shouldn't be allowed to be a congresswoman, and I'm sure people are looking at that. And she should be thrown the hell out of our country. And most of those people, they have destroyed Minnesota, okay? Minnesota, you have an incompetent governor. You have a crooked governor. He's crooked as hell, but he's incompetent. Walz he should be ashamed. That beautiful land, that beautiful state, it's a hellhole right now. And the Somalians should be out of here. They've destroyed our country. And all they do is complain, complain, complain.
I mean, our president's obsession with me and the Somali community really is creepy and healthy. And we are not, and I am not someone to be intimidated, and we are not going to be scapegoated. We are here to stay.
Federal agents are now on the ground, funding is frozen, and Minnesota's leadership faces a question that won't fade. Was this a failure of oversight or something far bigger?